Are you tired of all the effort that you're putting into the projects at work and it's not coming together? Well, it's time to bring that team together and really get them moving forward. So watch closely as I share with you how to build integrity in the workplace. Do you want to be productive? Well, to be productive requires having some integrity in the workplace. Now, what does integrity look like? I think if you ask 10 different people what the definition of integrity is, you might get 10 different answers. And here in this conversation I'm going to have with you, I'm going to point out some components of what I believe creates integrity in the workplace. Now, why have integrity? Well, if we look at a simple definition from the dictionary, integrity is something that has strength. To be able to have strength in the workplace means you're going to be more productive, have more progress, have more success, have more accomplishments. And that also means that the people who are on that team in the workplace are all doing their parts and creating a unified strength. So let's look at the different components here of what it's going to take to be able to create this integrity. The first one is big communication. There could be small communication, and you and I both know with small amounts of communication, it leaves room for error. So big communication looks like a meeting rhythm. Now, not all meetings today have to be in person. There's enough electronics to be able to create meetings and conversations that can happen throughout the day that doesn't require being all together in the same room. Big communication also means that everyone has their part in the communication of what's happening in that workplace. Sometimes you'll have one person who is always just giving out action steps, but they don't leave enough room for the rest of the team to give feedback or to be able to report back in what's happening on the team. So big communication means everybody's got an equal part, and it's often and more frequent than what seems reasonable for the company or the workplace. Now, communication, when there's a lack of it, you know that there's going to be a lack of integrity. When there's big communication, you know that the team is going to be stronger. And everybody speaks differently. They all come from their own particular learning style and their own, upbringing as an individual. So if you have somebody on your team that's not really good at communication, well, you get to have a chance to teach them and help introduce them into the conversation pattern that you have on a daily basis and also on a weekly basis. Next is to be able to have written goals. Spoken goals, or goals that come out in conversation that are not written, tend to get changed in people's minds. Just when they thought they knew what the goal was, one person will remember one part, another person will remember another part, and if it's not written down, there's nothing solid for the team to be able to refer to of what the goal is. Now, having a goal also means having a description of what it looks like when that goal has actually been achieved. And a big mistake that is made is having a short description. What you want to do when you set your goal is, and to write it down, is to write down as many details as possible that'll explain what that goal looks like when it is finished. Present that to the team and ask if it makes sense to the team. If it doesn't make sense to the team, well, then they're not going to be in on the goal. And you're going to find that you're going to have a lower level of integrity on your team because there's some confusion around the purpose or the direction that you're going as a team. But whenever you write goals, be sure to send it out to everybody who's on your team and ask for feedback of what needs to be clarified or put into more detail. Now, if you're watching this video and you don't have a workplace, you could also take the same information and apply it to a family atmosphere. Just change the words out from workplace to family, and you'll notice the same thing applies at home. Next is to write down the action steps. If each person on the team is keeping track of their action steps and they have a list to go to see the action steps that they've completed and also the action steps that they're going to be working on, you're going to find that that team has a higher level of integrity. When you have somebody on the team who is not tracking what it is that they've done or even recording what it is they're going to do, it leaves too much room for error. And you're going to have some problems. And those are unnecessary problems. Not everybody grew up in life knowing how to write down action steps and tracking what it is that they've done and also what they need to do to move forward. So be sure you check in with everybody and not assume that everybody knows what it means to track their action steps. An action step is what are the critical steps that need to have happen next to move closer to that goal. And so when each person on the team is tracking their action steps, you then can find where adjustments need to be made or corrections need to be made so that the team is moving together and bringing all that energy and that momentum together in accomplishing that goal. Now, I keep mentioning team, but that's another part. Not everybody's a team player, but you can create the atmosphere for everybody to be on a team. One is to use the language of team. If you don't use language of a team or a group or any type of community language, each person on your team could feel like an individual, like they're not part of something. So check in with the language or the culture of the workplace to see if you do use the language of a type of teamwork. Because we all know that 1 + 1 + 1 = 5. It doesn't equal 3. When 3 people are working together as a team, there's incredible synergy that happens in the momentum and the progress that is made because of the collaboration that's happening with that team. And so check in with the language and the culture that you're creating there, that it's not a bunch of individuals who are working on a team, but they're all a team and they all have their part. And the last one here to build integrity on the team is education. If you can bring to the workplace something to study, something to work on, something to raise their understanding, you'll find that the team will grow and excel together each step of the way. You know, as a team leader or a manager or whatever part you play on this team, bring to the table the idea to upgrade and up-level the education. Everybody has their own education backgrounds that they've come from, but there's always room to read or study a book about teamwork or leadership or goal setting or goal accomplishing. There's plenty of topics out there that every person on the team could benefit from to raise the level of integrity of that team. A team without education is still stuck in the past. Even no matter all their skill levels and all their education that they currently have, there is still more to learn that can upgrade each person and that collective group of people on that team. So check in with that workplace, and if there's not a system put in place for upgrading and up-leveling the education, speak up. Bring some ideas to the table. Bring your point of view to the table. Because if everybody were to jump in on the same topic, or literally everybody on the team was reading the same book and being able to share at your team meetings what they're gleaming from the book, you will find the team growing closer together. And you'll find the team up-leveling. Just when you thought your team was maxed out on everything that they could bring to the team, education opens the mind. And education also creates efficiency. I believe your team has more potential than what they're tapped into right now. Because if you can bring some integrity to the workplace and put in order some of these steps here of these 5 steps, you're going to find the momentum and the efficiency goes up to that next level. So you be the one in charge of integrity. You be the one in charge of bringing this to the workplace. And see which one is missing right now in that space that you work in, and you bring it to the table. Because when you can tap into that potential, it takes the stress off. Because when 1 + 1 + 1 = 5, that means you can get more done in less time. But that takes a team that has integrity. Here at 3 Key Elements, we like to find the equations and the components and principles that we can put together to be able to create a much more efficient and a much more productive team. And also, as an individual, to be able to tap into your own potential is very fulfilling and very exciting to see and feel yourself have that kind of progress too. And so here at 3 Key Elements, we like to do training and be able to share these types of information with you. So subscribe so you don't miss any of our training videos that are coming out to you. And also check us out at our website at 3keyelements.com. We'd love to be a bigger part in your life, so subscribe. And we love what you're doing because you're out there looking for ways to bring integrity to the workplace, because that matters to us too.